Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Jackie. Ooh. You look nice. Yes, yes. Your doorbell isn't working.
God. What is that from?
Hello, everybody. My name is Erica. This is my husband, Tim, and we are the creators of Reed & Row, a U.S. hair manufacturing. We've been in the business of hair manufacturing for probably a little over a year now. We're going to tell you what we think about it so far, how we got it started, and then we'll kind of lead into a couple things we've learned, some topics that we want to make sure we hit here on our channel.
You've been in the industry for like 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
You and I got married in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And Erica's been selling wigs and making wigs since she was like a teenager.
My entire kid to middle school, high school time, I was always doing things with my hair. I think that's what kind of sparked, this hair journey. And then by the time I was 18, I was just looking to make some money. I was heavily into the whole YouTube scene. Patricia Bright, Jackie Ina, all of them, they were just getting started. I had just started doing I was like, I'm gonna start making wigs. And some of these girls were making wigs as well. I was like, I'm gonna make some wigs and I'm gonna sell them on eBay. I ended up moving and all that.
3-4 years after we got married, you started doing a beaded row method.
By the time I got my cosmetology license, I was led into the world of beaded methods, and there was one company in particular that I was really wanting to learn from. We decided to kind of stop talking about it and just go and do it.
This is the building blocks to Reed & Row.
Getting to where we are.
When you did your beaded row method class,
Mm-hmm.
we had dropped what we felt like at the time was a lot of money. It was thousands of dollars that we did not have.
Yeah, we were newly married. We had one baby boy, and we were learning things real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just about us anymore and the two of us surviving. It was about keeping a family afloat. I did go and get certified through NBR. They give you the option at the end to join the academy.
We spent a lot of money to do it, but it was worth every penny. It puts you in a good mindset of business.
And I think the reason why this works so well is, the creator of NBR, her name's Danielle, she was also a hair beautician. She started off as a hair beautician, and she was, just a struggling stylist doing the whole roundabout thing. And then she kind of honed in on things that she was already doing for so long that it was almost like it was there in front of her face. And then she realized, why don't I do this? But I charge more. It was awesome to see an everyday stylist who was also struggling, who also had to keep a family afloat, come up and be able to change their whole lives.
It seemed almost impossible at first, getting that first customer, because it's such a drastic difference in price and a type of customer compared to what
I had been doing.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, after that first customer,
yes,
everything just the other customers were just flowing in, and it was super easy to get them.
Fast forward a couple more years, or elbows deep, I should say, into NBR. One night, I realized she hadn't been sleeping, and you had a dream about a new method that she wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for an engineering firm at the time. I made a little spindle for her to do this.
I could taste there was something more for Timothy and I.
Because of my work, I have a lot of connections in China. And I was able to trace back to the exact factory where a lot of these hair companies will source hair from. And we made connections with that factory. We started getting some prototypes made for our design. Then that led us to, we have a great connection with this factory. We could probably create our own hair company. And then that kind of led us down the path of...
There were so many happenings. It
was step by step by step.
The two guys. Remember the two guys that just appeared?
They literally just came out of nowhere from UK.
And he's from UK, one from LA or Beverly Hills, and they own a manufacturing in China. And it was just so crazy that they found little old me. Maybe they found some others, I don't know, but they found little old me. They wanted to talk, they wanted to do a FaceTime, so we met with them. They kind of opened up this world of raw hair.
We did. Oh, you actually did. You used this factory in China to source hair for your customers for a long time, and we actually saved a ton of money doing that,
Yeah.
which was great. So we created this kind of business relationship with them. So then we got on this raw hair kick, and we were like, we want to be the first kind of raw hair brand, authentic brand. In the industry, it's not very honest. We have bought so much hair that was labeled raw hair that was not raw, it was actually processed.
So with offering a high-end service, luxury service like NBR, IBE, and using like high-end distributors that we all know. And the biggest issue was they started off great, and then when you continue to grow, what happens? You kind of start to lose control with what you're getting. There were times where my guests were paying like thousands of dollars to get their hair done with me, and the hair that I would supply them from, you know, these companies wouldn't last them maybe 6 months. And we were doing everything that we were supposed to do, care-wise, product-wise, like doing everything. And then we just noticed life with the hair was just dwindling. So I felt bad having clients that were spending thousands of dollars with me to be in my chair to have hair that just wasn't lasting. That's why we then started looking like, what can we do? Maybe we should just cut the middleman out, and we have this awesome resource straight in China, like let's do that. Then that's where we discovered it's just very dishonest. Because guess what? We got great hair at first, and then it started to be really crappy. And then they're like, oh, well, you don't want to say this word, you want to say this word, and that's what the best hair is. And it was just that kind of whole thing. I think we did a full-on like pivot. We
pivoted a couple times before we actually got Reed and Rose started.
The final pivot that we did had nothing to do with offering luxury hair extensions. It had nothing to do with creating a method on our own. It had nothing to do with any of that. But it had actually something a lot bigger.
We saw an opportunity to provide a need for a niche, however you want to say it, with raw hair. One thing that I love is that there really isn't any companies doing what we're doing. And we tried. The company I mentioned in China, we would ask them to do things for us, and they were just like, you don't do this. People don't do this. And we were asking them, can you provide us raw wefts? And they were telling us that, you know, the machinery is not made for that. You know, you have to do certain types of chemicals to feed through the machine easier.
So once we kind of cracked down the shell, because it took some tries to say we want raw hair, and then we get their raw hair and it wasn't raw hair. We were like, no, this isn't raw hair. We want actual raw hair with what you're wanting. It's really hard because raw hair doesn't really feed through the machines at a fast production level that we would need in order for us to make money. He's saying, okay, we offer virgin hair. It's not raw hair, but it's virgin, which is like the next thing to raw hair.
So then our next question was, we need raw hair. We need real, authentic raw hair.
And China cannot get it for us.
They won't do it?
And we don't want to be in China.
We actually had been on our own researching companies from Myanmar.
We backed up and we were like, hey, what hair do we really, really like? I loved hair from Myanmar, and I loved hair from India.
But I remember her saying, babe, we have to have Burmese hair. I was like, okay, whatever you say. Let's go down the story about how we got our current vendor.
So how we got our current vendor / broker was just, I took to online and I asked around. I sent out some emails. I got led to a couple WhatsApp numbers. One of the last emails I was given was, you want to check out these numbers on WhatsApp for raw hair from Myanmar. I believe the first one said the broker that we work with today. There's two of them. Two of them got back right away. We ended up testing and purchasing the hair from both. The first hair from Myanmar that we got was raw, but we ordered it wefted, and the hair wefts were what?
Oh, trash. But anyways, so we found a good vendor that sent beautiful hair, and we loved that hair.
Yes, and mind you, I have to say this, we were looking for hair, and putting it out there that we wanted to start this business without having secured or even knowing how we were going to get machines.
We had no idea.
We just were moving forward with finding truly amazing hair.
So often people want to just plan every last detail and have everything figured out before they step their first foot and get some motion going. Well, the world just doesn't operate that way. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to just do everything ourselves. That's kind of the situation. So let's figure out what that would be
Let's
for us
just
to
work
do
in
it.
the direction of supplying our own hair. And so I remember we were purchasing hair from Myanmar. We found an awesome vendor. It was a little spotty at first when we found this one in Myanmar, and we were like, I started like, is this really raw hair? Is this really? And he finally sends me a message. He goes, I don't want to work with you anymore. Bye. I'm like, what? And so I kind of just was like, I've never been shut down before. Like, what the heck? And so I remember talking to Timothy for about a week or so about it, and then Tim's like, maybe just apologize, say if we can start over, you know. And so I did.
I think we actually sent him a picture of some money.
Oh, maybe we did that too. We had cash. We were ready to Western Union it because we knew he only accepted Western Union, and so
we sent him a picture of like, I can't remember, a couple $1,000s, all in hundreds.
And we were like, we will buy from you, like no more fluff. I won't ask any more questions. We will buy from you tomorrow. Like it's closed right now, but I will go first thing and buy hair from you tomorrow. And he said, okay. And so that kind of sparked our first round of hair. We got the hair in. We more so we're like, okay, let's get raw hair in. Let's find a way to weft that hair. Let's find a way to get it back to us. And so our contact in China that was very honest and they were very good. Honest. We need it to be wefted, and they were like, okay, we'll do that. So they did. They took our hair. We shipped it. Came from Myanmar. We shipped it to China.
Yep.
Got it all wefted. Had it come back here, and then we were like, here's our product. Now that's going a lot more above and beyond than the traditional buying hair from China and being like, this is my product. We purchased raw hair from elsewhere and had wefters weft it for us. And
well, so let me just kind of add a couple details. When we buy the hair from Myanmar, we pay to ship it to the U.S. Then we pay to ship the hair to China. Okay, each time it goes across the ocean, it's like $130. For this company, and I think for most others, it takes about 30 days for them to weft your hair and to ship it back. Of course, you pay to ship it back. That's another $130. And now there's tariffs coming from China.
Yeah.
It got real expensive real fast.
And we were thinking, oh, well, we're just gonna price this hair to be super luxury. And it was. We were able to rightfully say it was luxury raw hair. Thinking long term, like, are we gonna do this like every time?
Yeah.
We're only gonna be buying more and more hair. This company, we don't know how long they'll weft the hair for us.
We knew that wasn't gonna work. So then that led us down the path of, we need to learn to do this ourselves. What all do we need to do this? Erica researched for a long time. Finally found a company that sold this machinery in China. They wouldn't even sell us the machinery, first of all, until we went to China. They wanted us to go out there, to take a class, to pay a bunch of money to take the class and to learn how to use the machines with them. And so that just wasn't a good option for us. We were able to convince them to sell us the machinery, and then we ended up paying for extra like online classes. This whole time we're still buying hair from our vendor and sending it to China and having it come back. We weren't working with a lot of money in the very beginning. Our first amount of hair that we bought from this vendor was just a kilo, and we had to beg him to do that. We had to beg, and he would not sell us 1 kilo. We were like, please, let's just have one, please.
Please give us just minimum, little bit,
bare minimum.
Little scrap. I was kind of relentless.
We did.
I messaged him all the time. I said, I basically kind of put the narrative out there that I was not going away.
Okay, so now we're at a point to where we want to buy machines. We have an idea of cost. It's a lot of money, way more money than what we have. And so we were like, what do we do? Well, there is a wonderful investor that I have known over the years at my old job. And he approached me about a separate project and was like, hey, I want you to help with something that I want to do on the side. It's kind of a secret, but I want your help with it. And I said, well, it's interesting that you asked me that because I actually want your help. And if you're willing to help me, I would love to help you. And so he said, well, how about you bring your
Which is
wife
pretty
over?
gutsy. Like, I could never say that to anybody. I could never.
I don't know why.
But I think we were just at a point where we were like, it's do or die. Like, we do something about it this year or we don't.
Yeah.
Hang it up.
And we're very religious people, and I truly firmly believe that if you have just a little bit of faith in what you're doing and some faith in God, that He will bless you with a path of what you are wanting in life. And if you've ever read the book The Secret, I would highly encourage that book as well, because what you think about, you manifest into reality. And this is a good example of that. I mean, we for a long time wanted to do this.
The fact that we were actively like working in the direction of having manufacturing without really knowing how it was going to happen, I think was just like the biggest thing. Like, just I look back on that and I'm like, wow, like how did we put so much time into this at that time for like years? Honestly, like getting this off the ground, and we make it sound like it happened like last month this happened, the following month.
It took years.
It took years, but we actively like worked in the direction.
Yeah, and sometimes blindly, like we knew there was.
Sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it, but you're
Yeah.
doing it. Like me and Timothy would be up till like midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, just kind of talking about like our next move, our next plan, and just kind of talking about. We call it the $1 million business idea. I have it on my phone.
And we were doing it broke, mind you, like completely broke.
Yes, but we having these like talking, like just talking it out and saying things out loud and just kind of talking through like, okay, if this happened, we'd do this. Okay, if this happened, we'd do that.
I think one of the reasons why I was okay with doing, reaching or asking that question to him was because I have seen with my company was a startup, and startups require money from investors, and I have seen them raise so much money just on a whim.
Yeah.
And so to me, like
for kind of just silly things,
Yeah. And for them, I see just millions of dollars being tossed around, and I'm just like, hey, this is actually a pretty small amount of money compared to what he has invested. One of the wealthiest people I've ever met in person. I was just like, I've got nothing to lose on this. Why not? He's approaching me for my help. We need his help as well.
So when he came home and told me this, I was like, what? Like, no way. And mind you, we have had people in the past say they wanted, like we've shared with people that we wanted to do this, and they were like, I want to get in on it. Let me help you.
We said no.
Also wealthy investors, and it didn't feel right. And we were like, ooh, this is like such an awesome
It's true. I forgot about those
and it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then when Timothy came home with this, talking about this gentleman, I was like, why? I'm not feeling that weird negative feeling that I felt with the last 2 people that wanted to do this with us. This guy sounds like he doesn't really want anything to do with it, but he just wants to help.
He literally wrote us a check for a substantial amount of money. He didn't want any contract. All he said was, pay me back 10% on top. I'm not going to hit you up for payments. I don't want you to pay me back anytime soon. He said, do what's best for the business for like the next year or 2, or however long it takes to get the business just really going really well. And once you're in a position to where you feel like money is flowing well and business is doing well, then we'll worry about paying me back. And I'm just like blown away by that.
We were just sitting there, and he said, come back. I think it was a weekend that we went to go see him. He's like, come back Monday. I'll have so-and-so write the check, and I'll give it to you. But when this opportunity arose, it just felt right.
Yeah. Just a huge blessing, because most of the time when someone writes a check like that, it has a lot of stipulations on it, and it has a timeline attached to it, and it has all kinds of different things. And he did not do any of that. And I'm just like so grateful, and we just feel so blessed that it's just like feels like a real miracle to us. Mm-hmm. He literally just handed it to us and said, 10% on top when you pay me back, and do it when it's best for you.
Yeah, and I remember like Timothy was saying, we are very religious, and even in the weekend that we were presented this offer, we were praying so hard, like is this something we need to be like, is this the opportunity that, you know, you have in store for us? And, you know, God, I don't think just says, yes, this is what you need to be doing. Yes, you're right. Like, it's more so, it was like, hey, we were given this opportunity. We haven't felt anything negative, and we feel it right to go in this direction. And there was a piece about that.
At this point, we've ordered the machines. We just bought a crap ton of hair and a bunch of just random business stuff, like a laptop and shipping supplies and all this other stuff that eats away at all that money. It took like 3 months or so they had a slow boat, the machines over here. And so in crates, and it took a long time. So the machines arrive, and there is zero instruction, like no manuals, no nothing. It's just like, here's the machine.
Wooden crates and dropped off by a big diesel truck, and it was like, best of luck to you.
Yep. Even the plugs that they use were not American plugs. Like, we had to completely, luckily with my experience in the engineering world, I was able to like refit the machines electrically so that they would work for us. But they literally have no business being in the US, like zero. With Erica, what a lot of people don't know about her is that she grew up sewing.
I would sew a lot with my mom. She taught me how to sew. What we liked to sew was clothes. We liked to sew blankets. We sewed just fun activity projects. Yeah, she taught me everything. I was just really intrigued by it. I thought I was gonna be a fashion designer. Like, I just was so intrigued by like the clothes that you could make and the fabrics you can choose. I loved it so much. One of my favorite things to do was go to Walmart with my mom. She loved going to the sewing area. I loved going to the sewing area, and I'd sit down on the bar stool, and they had like these desk areas, and you could just check out the McCall's books and Simplicity books, and I would pick out, she'd always let me pick out 3 or 4 patterns, and then I'd go to the drawer and get the code and get the pattern, and then she'd be like, okay, well, select some fabrics. And so that was always so fun. I loved doing that with my mom. And so she taught me a lot with working with fabrics, working with different materials, how to thread machines, what certain specific machines were and how to use them, when to use them, what machines to use for what. And so I took a lot of that stuff for granted, where even in my teenage years, I was kind of like at that point rolling my eyes, like, whatever, Mom, I already know, you know.
So if you look behind us, this is our 3-armed wefting machine. This is our bread and butter. Everything that we sell goes through this machine first. We looked at that machine for probably 2 months.
Mm-hmm. So when it dropped off, it was honestly like, kind of like that same feeling when you come home with a baby for the first time. You're kind of like, okay, what do we do now? You know, it's just like, okay, it's really happening, it's really here, but what do we do? Maybe even a few months go by, and we're like, Timothy says, it's time for us to address these machines. We gotta figure them out. We can't keep sending her to China. Like,
it's getting very expensive.
It's getting very expensive. Like, we have these machines here. We talked about, you know, forever having these machines, and now that they're finally here, we're not using them. Like, we need to start using them.
So I got the manual, and we just looked up the basics of the actual head. And Erica, with her sewing knowledge, which is pretty vast, way beyond me, it was like way beyond me, she was able to piece together between what she knew and what we were seeing in the manual and figure it out. Like, if you're wanting to start a hair business and you want to buy machines like we have, if you don't have a ton of sewing knowledge, because this is way more about sewing than it is about hair, to be honest, you are going to struggle for a long time. You can totally do it, but there's going to be a learning curve to figure out how to do it, and no one's going to teach you.
And if you think it's a matter of just, you know, and I still every day I'm like, please machine, just do this. If you think it's about just feeding hair in a machine, it's so much more complex than that. And you have to know, like, I have calluses starting to build on where, like, my finger has to be positioned this very specific and intricate way. And even there in China, they told us this. Like, you have to have pressure. Like, you just have to figure out the pressure. You have to figure out the positioning of your left finger on the next to the foot without making sure it's close enough, but not close enough to where you're gonna have the needle go through your finger. Like there's so many.
It's a whole thing. I think to wrap it up here, babe.
Mm-hmm.
We've had these machines for well over a year now, and now we actually know how to use them somewhat. We've gotten halfway good at it.
You got to be a lifelong learner.
We've figured it out a little bit.
If you say that you've been an avid sewer your whole life, or you've been making wigs your whole life, most of your life, I said that too. You know, I said it too, and you just have to have a life. I took this saying from she used to be one of my mentors back when I was in hair school. Her name was Deborah Dietrich. She's a makeup artist and a hairstylist for the rich and famous and movies. She's done all kinds of big movies, and I paid to go to one of her classes while I was in school. And she said the only way you get anywhere in life is by being a lifelong learner. Just don't. You have to be humble enough to be a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
She goes, I've accepted years ago that even she had years under her belt of just doing these big movies. I think it was even like Mission Impossible. Like she did all these awesome movies, and she was in Forbes magazine, and she's like, I was always humble enough to be like, you know, okay, maybe I don't know, and I'm going to learn from both new and old. And I'm not going to, just because I have all these amazing things under my belt, doesn't mean I'm going to treat someone else a different way or act like I know all the things. So she said I could have, 40, 50 years under my belt doing something, and then, something else come along that's completely different, that rewrites the script, and what I know doesn't mean crap. She's like, so always have the mindset of being a lifelong learner.
I never thought I would be doing hair or in the hair business.
Man from Tennessee and coming to California. There's a lot of, you didn't think he would ever, didn't think he'd come to California, didn't think he'd,
But it's been awesome. It's been really good. I've always wanted to have a business. I always tell her that I have adopted her dream as mine. So it's been wild. It's been wild. If you're looking at this thinking, I want to start a hair business, you absolutely can. Like, I hope you don't watch this and are discouraged anyway. Like, no matter what you're doing, whether it's hair or anything else, you're going to have a similar type of story.
I would love to see, and a big part of this movement with having these machines here in the U.S. is to create a movement that we are done with lies, and that we want to create something a product that is amazing. So like, we are absolutely for more people wanting to do this and having this, dream to pursue something like greater and not accepting what others are trying to tell you is the standard.
Yeah, we've always called ourselves an honest hair company. And
we'll do another video where we talk about why Burmese hair, we went with Burmese hair. Just generally, like, it is just a beautiful low luster hair that I think is so beautiful with, Black women. It's got a lot of texture to it. We sell and retail these bundles, so they just are so gorgeous with, as a rule, I generally have my raw Burmese hair in, and this is one of the textures that we have. It's actually called raw texture, because it does have texture in it. So when you straighten it almost mimics that pressed look that you get with almost like a processed yaki, but this is actually like someone's raw hair that does that. And then we have this fun texture. This is called our raw deep.
Which is super popular.
Super popular. I'd say this is probably our most popular one. But yeah, let's see that new stuff. It's 1 in the morning and I'm ready to run.
All right. Well, is that all you want to say? Really?
That's all I'm going to say. It's all she wrote right now. But we're so excited to be here and kind of just give an honest take on what it takes to start a hair business. Hair businesses, there's so many facets of a hair business, different types, different ways you can start a hair business. And I am here for every one of them. I feel like just following so many people that have hair businesses on here on YouTube and have a platform. They have all been just big drivers to me and Tim fulfilling what we want to see in the hair industry. So, you know, I love to see it all. And yeah, try out our hair. We're Reed and Row. So you can go to our website, www.reedandrow.com. And then also if you want more of a day-to-day update situation, definitely follow our Instagram. It is Reed and Row Hair, and we'll have that link here probably on the whole video. Definitely follow us there. I feel like when it comes to any platform, we're definitely more present there, but this is going to be the space where we kind of share our feelings and our views and kind of take our time. This is where we want to be.
All right.
Bye.